It's a scathing indictment of the promotion process in the army. The Armed Forces Tribunal, its Lucknow bench, has demoted a 3-star general. A lieutenant general has been demoted to the rank of a brigadier. The Lucknow bench of the Armed Forces Tribunal, headed by Air Marshal Anil Chopra and Justice D.P. Singh, has not only imposed a cost of 50 lakh rupees on the Ministry of Defence, but it's also warned the government that travesty of justice and armed forces will lead to creation of sleeper cells of foreign intelligence agencies in India. It's also said that such incidents lead to bribery in defence deals. The promotion of 2 officers against 1 vacancy in the Army's Ordnance Corps saw the MOD interfering in the promotion process. The court said the applicant was in active touch with the MOD and diverted the issue. The court also said prima facie it appears things were managed at a lower level and duly acknowledged and approved by the then Defence Secretary and then Defence Minister. The court found that junior staff was exploiting the system, resulting in seeping corruption in the Ministry of Defence. The bench also cautioned that only men with impeccable integrity should be appointed to prevent scams in defence procurement, and said travesty of justice shall open the gallery to sleeper cells of foreign intelligence. Inquiries to be ordered by the government to fix responsibility in accordance with unfair practices in army or the Ministry of Defence, as the case may be.
I have Major S.S. Pandey with me here. Major Pandey, can you explain to me why this has happened?
This happened because the Armed Forces Tribunal found that Major General Mehta has obtained an order from the Armed Forces Tribunal, which was based on the connivance between the ministry officials and him, and those were the facts which were presented before the tribunals were distorted facts and were contrary to the policies, and the order was obtained.
So what was Major General Mehta before he got a promotion, and what does he become now after he's been demoted?
He was Lieutenant General. He was, in the meanwhile, he was already promoted as a Lieutenant General. After the effect of this order is that he goes back to his substantive rank of Brigadier, and the Major General's rank and Lieutenant General's rank, both these ranks have been withdrawn from him.
So, would you say that this is a result of a difference of opinion between the Defence Ministry and the Armed Forces?
Yes, if you see in this case, right from the beginning, the ministry officials were somehow wanting to help Mehta. They withheld the promotion of General Rathore, whom I represented in the case. And in fact, they were the one who kept on pressurizing army officials that they should accept Mehta should be given promotion and Rathore should be denied promotion. That was the approach. In fact, at that time also army tried to resist that this is incorrect, but the ministry officials and the then defense minister approved the dissenting note which they gave, and they did not accept army's recommendations. Resultantly, Mehta was given certain advantage, and those advantages came very handy to him when he went and filed a petition in the Armed Forces Tribunal and got an order based on which he was promoted as a Major General, and based on his promotion as a Major General, subsequently he was promoted as a Lieutenant General.
Now, the Armed Forces Tribunal has warned if mid-course correction is not done immediately, this could result in creation of sleeper cells of foreign intelligence agencies in India, which means disgruntled officers, meritorious officers, if they don't get their promotion, they could either indulge in corruption, so you could have defense scams, or they could start working for foreign intelligence agencies. This is really alarming. Joining me now on the broadcast is former Union Information and Broadcasting Minister, Minister of State Manish Tiwari, senior Congress leader, the armed forces very close to his heart. Sudhanshu Mittal is BJP leader and spokesperson. Major General G.D. Bakshi, he has been through this mill. He knows the system inside out. And General, I want to begin with you. How serious an offence is manipulating service records and connivance with MOD officials for promotion, as the 3-star general was charged with and now demoted to rank of a brigadier?
I think it is a landmark judgment. A very brave judgment has been issued by the Court of Justice Thakur and also Air Marshal Chopra. So the fact of the matter is that the problem is with our logistics, arms and services. This is where the lucrative contracts are. This is where the avenues for promotion are limited. This is where the competition gets very severe and sometimes it tends to go out of hand. This is where we find that the civilian sector, which has the interface, and a civilian comes into the military system at the rank of promotion from brigadiers, major generals and upwards. And we find this unhealthy practice has been creeping in, that people try and suck up to some of the ministry officials, some of these ministry officials who have been there for years and years and years.
Absolutely.
Learn to play the system.
Manish Tiwari,
learn to play the system.
Scathing indictment.
Therefore, there should be total
the
transparency.
General, stay with me for a moment. But you've pointed this incestuous relationship, and Manish Tiwari, Air Marshal Anil Chopra, and Justice D.P. Singh, they didn't mince their words when they hit out at this incestuous relationship between ministerial staff and officers resorting to unfair means for promotion. So, is demotion punishment enough, or there should be full-fledged inquiry and strict action? Manish Tiwari. Okay, I'll try and reestablish that line with Manish Tiwari in just a moment. Sudhanshu Mittal, will the BJP government order an inquiry after this court order? Will action be taken against those who tried to manipulate the system and almost succeeded till this court order came, sir?
It is bound to happen, because if you read the order says that the copies of this order be sent to the Prime Minister, Defence Minister, Defence Secretary within 3 days for appropriate action. It's a very, very serious matter. I want to compliment you for taking this in the right earnestness. Over a period of time, increasingly I have come across very senior officers of the armed forces coming and complaining about the way promotions are getting manipulated. Is so subjective according to them, and how, looking at the faces, are these systems being manipulated? It's a very, very serious matter.
It indeed is.
I'm very thankful that this kind of a statement has come from the tribunal.
Yes, and how do you stem the rot? How do you stem the rot, General? General, how do you stem the rot, this incestuous relationship? And it takes two to clap. Army officers equally guilty of manipulating system, because the first man who started manipulating the system was this brigadier. His promotion to Major General Malafide, and then promotion from Major General to Lieutenant General in question. So the army has to take its share of the blame, sir.
You see, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Till the rank of brigadier, we've been able to work our systems very well. It's only beyond that that we suddenly get a civilian interface. The Ministry of Defence MSX brigadier starts sitting in your MS branch. Now a lot of his underlings, under secretary rank level officers, you've seen that in the Ministry of Home Affairs lately, somebody has been charge sheeted, and they learn the system, they become manipulative, extractive, greedy. They reach out to officers who are due for promotion, and they assure them that they'll fix it for this, that or other consideration. So at this instant case, we found that the Army's recommendations were overruled at the ministry level. I'm very sorry to state that the then Defence Secretary did not apply his mind. He just went by what his subordinates told him, and therefore this wrong was done.
So is there a big mess? Is there a big mess in military promotions, General? Is there a big mess?
Transparent as possible.
Is there a big mess in top military promotions?
No, I wouldn't call it a big mess. No, I wouldn't call it a big mess. What I would like to tell you is that the system must be transparent. Go by the people in uniform. They know their officers well. Every officer has a spoken reputation. Let not the civilian interface. I'm sorry, the rot has come to us from the civilian society. The moment we have a civilian interface, we start the problems coming in, and then quite obviously, if they are the kingmakers and the avenues of promotion are so severely restricted in the armed forces, it's an Eiffel Tower.
It
yes,
is.
those
So Sudhanshu,
people who have gone
Sudhanshu
up
Mittal,
and
what's the
done,
way forward? What's the way
reached up,
forward?
sucked up to these people
Yes.
are equally guilty, and I'm very glad they have been taken to account.
Well, will they be taken to account? Because this isn't the first time the court has come down heavily on the promotion policy. Sudhanshu Mittal, when we talk of scams in the armed forces, the most worrying aspect is that the Armed Forces Tribunal is saying that the country is facing a number of scams in defense procurement, and only officers of highest integrity should be appointed to crucial jobs. And this is where integrity of military officers is also in doubt, Sudhanshu Mittal.
Absolutely, Gaurav. This is a very alarming situation. I beg to differ with General Saab that the blame lies only in the civilian establishment. General Saab, I have this person who's a Gallantry Award winner coming to me and so bitterly complaining about how one of his senior officers has been victimizing him and ruining his career. He was, can you imagine a Gallantry Award winner of the army wanting to quit the army because he sees no road forward? Issues not civilian or this thing, issues the rot. The rot is there because there's a lot of subjectivity, there's lack of transparency. One particular paragraph of the judgment which I like to read, needless to say, it's such type of incident, the lack probity of the system which pays way to the sleeper cells for foreign countries to be activated to enter and manage the defense, purchase and derive benefits of kickbacks, the branch said. You see, it is time, you know, we have been overlooking all these aspects because some of the other security of the country and armed forces is a very sacred cow, holy cow, and nobody wants to really take it to a logical end.
No, and
One
there
more
should be
thing I
no
would
holy
like to
cow.
know,
There
to
should be
point
no
out
holy
here.
cow.
Absolutely.
General, at this
On
point of time,
administrative
the
side,
army should
on
be as
corruption,
open. And the army chief, the then army chief, who's now a minister of state in the NDA government, General V.K. Singh, while he was combating the Ministry of Defence on this issue of promotion, he should have just put his foot down, General.
Look, the army did put its foot down, but the higher rungs of the process... No, excuse me. The higher rungs of the process are all controlled by the ministry. I'm very sorry to state that the previous dispensation was trying to have some favorites in place, and that is why you see the Augusta scam and the other scam. When you want pliable officers so that you can sort of skim the fat and make your big deals, this is what you have seen in the Augusta deal, this is what you are seeing in the other deal. We should not allow the system to be manipulated to put pliable officers. That is precisely what had happened before 1962. You had started putting pliable officers who could be manipulated to make money for the politicians, for the bureaucrat-politician nexus. The fish rots from the head.
Manish Tiwari, now that I have you back, how does one ensure that only merit gets promotion and not either money or these connections that the court is warning against?
Well, Gaurav, I think you need to take a balanced view of the entire matter. First of all, this is not the final judgment in this particular case. If I understand the Armed Forces Special Tribunal Act properly, I guess a statutory appeal does lie to the Supreme Court. So therefore, this is not the end of the matter. I have not read the judgment, but obviously it seems that there is certain arbiter with regard to the entire process which the tribunal has articulated in the order. Now, is this a one-off case, or is this reflection of a larger malaise in the system, is something which the Ministry of Defence and the service headquarters will have to go into, because it's not a case as if, you know, the entire armed forces establishment is riddled with nepotism.
Okay.
Yes, there have been cases where promotions have been challenged,
No, and
where
in this case,
promotions
Manish
have been
Tiwari,
overturned,
the judgment,
where promotions...
the judgment is actually
Gaurav,
exposing the nexus between junior level babus and the ministry. Junior level babus, this is what this order says. This is perhaps the government's worst kept secret. You were a minister, you would know that junior level bureaucrats initiate a file, make a noting, and the court says, without perhaps applying their mind, the then defense secretary, perhaps the then defense minister, just initialed it. Manish Tiwari.
Well, Gaurav, as I understand the promotion process in government, and I believe the same applies to the armed forces also, there is a departmental promotion committee. And the DPC essentially consists of people who are a tier higher than the ones who are being promoted. So therefore, the departmental promotion committee calls all these candidates who are eligible, interviews them, and after that makes a recommendation. In fact, if the DPC process has been completed, it is illegal for any officer and much less the minister to interfere into that DPC process and say that no, I do not accept the recommendations of the Departmental Promotion Committee.
Yes.
So in this particular instance, what are the facts of the matter? I am not really aware of. But
Okay.
yes, if the Armed Forces Tribunal has flagged certain aberrations, the Ministry of Defence can very well go into it, because ultimately there would be an appeal from this order, as I understand, because this is not the end of it.
Yes.
And see if some correctives can be applied. But to
Okay.
say as if the entire armed forces establishment is riddled with nepotism, I think would be a very unfair statement to make
In
about
fact-
an institution which has acquitted itself fairly well.
In fact, Justice D.P. Singh and Air Marshal Chopra, they have come with very decent, very humble suggestions to stem the rot and clean the system, where they're actually saying, ensure that officers are not much in touch with bureaucrats. We will continue to track the story very closely. I've run out of time on this debate. To all my guests, many thanks. We will track this story.